I'll now look at compound fractions. A compound fraction is a fraction that has another fraction inside of it, either in the numerator or the denominator, or sometimes both. There are two ways to simplify these, and I'll demonstrate them in a series of examples. So I'll start with the first way. My first method actually considers this as two separate fractions and adds or subtracts them accordingly. So if I think of the numerator, the common denominator here would be a minus 1 times a. So the first fraction I need to multiply by a on both the top and the bottom, minus the second fraction I need to multiply by a minus 1 on both the top and the bottom. That then becomes 2a squared over a minus 1 minus 3a minus 3 over a minus 1. Since I need to subtract, I then have 2a squared minus 3a minus negative 3, or plus 3, over a minus 1. So I've kind of simplified the top, and now I need to look at the bottom. Here, the common denominator is just going to be a minus 1. So I have negative 6 over a minus 1 minus 4 a minus 1 over a minus 1. Multiplying gives me negative 6 over a minus 1 minus 4a minus 4 over a minus 1. I have a minus 4a, and then I have negative 6 minus negative 4, which is going to be negative 2, over a minus 1. So now what do I do with these? So far, this is what we've simplified to. But a big fraction bar is just a division, so now I just need to divide fractions. So the top will stay the way it is, which doesn't factor. And then I'll flip the bottom and multiply. The top of this does factor. I can pull out a negative 2, and I'm left with 2a plus 1. I now have an a minus 1 on the top and bottom that can cancel. And I have my much more simplified answer. 2a squared minus 3a plus 3 over negative 2a times 2a plus 1. So essentially, I just consider this as two fractions, the top and the bottom, added or subtracted accordingly, and then use the fraction bar as a division. I'll do one more example using this method. Here's my compound fraction. I'm going to start with the numerator. The common denominator here will be x plus 1 times x. The first fraction is missing an x, while the second fraction is missing the x plus 1. So this reduces to x squared over xx plus 1 minus x plus 1 over x plus 1. That gives me x squared minus x and then minus 1. And that's the new top of the fraction. For the bottom, you'll notice the only difference between the numerator and the denominator is the negative sign changes to a plus sign. So I'm going to skip a few steps since we've already done the majority of the work, and just change our last step here to a plus sign in the middle. That gives us x squared plus x plus 1 over x plus 1. Now that we've simplified both the numerator and the denominator to a single fraction, let's divide. So the top stays the same. And then to divide, we flip the second fraction and multiply. We have an x on the top and the bottom and an x plus 1 on the top and bottom. So now I have x squared minus x minus 1 over x squared plus x plus 1. So this is the essence of the first method. You're going to treat the numerator and denominator as fractions, add or subtract accordingly, and then divide. Now let's look at the second method. For the second method, it's going to be a little different. I'm going to repeat my last example. For this, I'm going to consider what is the least common denominator of all of the fractions. On the top, I have an x and an x plus 1, and on the bottom, I have the same thing. So I'm going to multiply this entire fraction by the least common denominator divided by the least common denominator. When I multiply, this will end up being x times x plus 1 over x plus 1 minus x plus 1 over x divided by x times x plus 1 over x plus 1 plus x plus 1 over x. We can now cancel appropriately. This has x plus 1s, this has x's, this has x's, and this has x plus 1s. Now, the top becomes x squared, and I'm going to go ahead and distribute this negative sign to get negative x minus 1. The bottom, the first fraction is x squared, the second one becomes x plus 1. And you'll notice we got the same answer that we got last time. Let's do one more example using this method. The first step is to find the least common denominator. You'll notice on the bottom of fractions we have a's and we have a minus 2's, and that's it. So I'm going to multiply both the top and the bottom of this compound fraction by a minus 2. So now I have 1 times a minus 2 over a minus 3 a minus 2 over a minus 2 divided by 2 times a minus 2 over a plus 5 a minus 2 over a minus 2. Canceling appropriately, the first fraction has a's, the second one a minus 2, third one is a, and fourth one is a minus 2. Now on the top, I'm left with a minus 2 minus 3a. The bottom, the first fraction has a 2a minus 4. The second one has a 5a. And I can simplify this a little bit further. A minus 3a is negative 2a minus 2. The bottom, 2 plus 5 is 7a minus 4.